back to Time to Go. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a watch that, to be honest with you, I was not a huge fan of, not until a couple of months ago, that is. Over time, it's sort of grown on me, especially after handling a couple of them. The watch that we are looking at here is the Seiko Monster 3rd Gen. This is the black version of the watch. I've had it about just under a month now, and honestly, it's getting a ton of wrist time, and I'm really enjoying it. So let's spin the camera around, and we'll take a closer look at the Seiko Monster. Alright guys, so I'm going to just start this off by going through some of the packaging so you guys will know what to expect if you end up ordering one of these. First of all, there is an outer Seiko Prospex, just a paper box. There is an inner cardboard box as well as a couple of booklets. We have the worldwide guarantee. There's some instructions in here as well, and the your card for your international warranty. Also, there's instructions. You'll see the Japanese writing as well as here on the little tag, and this is a Japanese domestic model. Now, on to some of the specs of this watch. The watch here is a 42.5 millimeter diameter. It is 13 millimeters thick. Lug to lug is 48 millimeters, and we have a lug width of 20 millimeters. Also, the water resistance on this watch is 200 meters. So size-wise, it is definitely a nice size. It wears really nice on the wrist with these dimensions. The dial here on the Monster is a nice flat black. There is a second layer on the outer part of the dial raising the chapter ring, which is also cut out around the hour markers. Now, the hour markers on this, as you can see, are a rectangular shape versus the shark tooth shaped hour markers on the 2nd gen. I personally like both, but if you're looking for a bit more of a subdued look, this might be the better option for you. I have to say, I really love the handset of the Seiko Monster lineup, particularly the hour hand. They're just so big and bold, it makes them really easy to read at a quick glance. They're also obviously very heavily applied with lume, along with the hour markers and the pip at the 60-minute mark on the bezel, and I'll just put a little shot of the lume up here now. And as you can see, the lume is very bright, and it does last all night long. So while we're looking at the dial of this watch, I just want to point out the crystal here is a Hardlex crystal. At 3 o'clock we have a date magnifier, and I know that is not for everybody, and I could kind of take it or leave it myself as well, but over time it's starting to kind of grow on me. Now, our bezel here is a stainless steel 120 click unidirectional bezel. If you look from the sides, I just love how the bezel sort of is integrated into the case. It gives it almost a revolver look, and I don't know if they did this on purpose, but you can actually just by feel adjust the bezel in 5-minute increments at a time, which is kind of neat. Now, I also want to point out the bezel is sort of concave, so it slopes upward and outward, kind of protecting the crystal. And I have to say also with the bezel, once you have it sort of set in place, there is very little play. As far as the case goes, it's just such a unique design, and I love how the case comes up to protect both the bezel and the crown. Now, the one thing about the case design is when you're adjusting your bezel, you can get your finger kind of bitten a little bit in here as well as down here, but I guess it's not called a Monster for nothing. Now, the case is mostly brushed to quite a nice finish. There is some polishing in the little indentations here between the lugs and also on the case back. You'll see here we have the nice tsunami logo, and the case is housing a 6R15 caliber movement. This is a hand winding and hackable movement. It has a 50-hour power reserve, and mine's keeping to about +5 seconds per day, and if I pull the crown out, the winding is just buttery smooth on this. So the bracelet on this watch was actually a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't really like the look of it when I saw it in pictures. It looked very plain, but once I got it, it just goes so great with this watch. It's nicely brushed. There is some polishing here where the links meet, and yeah, I expected to be swapping this out for something different right away, but I'm really enjoying it. The clasp is just a stamped steel. There is a diver's extension here as well, and also stamped steel, and it's pretty comfortable actually, to be honest with you. So let me just try it on for you guys here for a minute. Okay, so usually at this point in my videos I discuss some pros and cons, and I'm having a hard time coming up with cons for this watch. I think the big con though for most people would be the overall look, and I felt the exact same way until I handled a couple of them, and then I made a complete 360. So I think if anybody's on the fence or considering one, I would definitely recommend trying one on, and I believe a lot of people will change their mind about monsters once they've handled one. The only other con I can think of is the Cyclops. I could definitely take it or leave it, and I'd probably prefer to leave it, but it is growing on me. It's not the end of the world. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Let's spin the camera around and we'll wrap this up. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's review of the Seiko Monster 3rd Gen. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun putting it together. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.